Right now, behind the walls of the White House, a high-stakes meeting is underway in the Situation Room. The objective is to finalize a memorandum of understanding with Iran that could halt a full-scale regional war. This diplomatic push comes on the heels of Operation Epic Fury. The kinetic scale of the campaign was massive, involving more than 13,500 United States strikes and 8,000 Israeli strikes targeting Iranian infrastructure. This data illustrates the impact of those strikes, which wiped out an estimated 82. Despite the damage to their factories and fleets, the Iranian leadership is betting that their control over the world's energy flow is a weapon the U.S. cannot simply bomb away. To understand the current deadlock, we have to look at the map of the Strait of Hormuz. At its narrowest, this waterway is only 21 miles wide, making it a critical bottleneck for a massive share of the global economy's fossil fuel supply. Iran's asymmetric counterattack relies entirely on this geography. They laid sea mines and effectively threatened to close the strait, holding international shipping routes hostage. The United States responded by establishing an absolute naval blockade around Iran's coast. This cuts off Iranian ports from the outside world, creating an overlapping double blockade. This physical stalemate has trapped hundreds of commercial vessels and oil tankers in the region, putting an intense, enduring squeeze on the global supply chain. Control of these narrow waters has become Iran's primary bargaining chip, the only piece of territory that allows them to maintain pressure on the international community. To lift that U.S. naval blockade, the president has laid out a strict set of absolute, non-negotiable terms. First, the Strait of Hormuz must be reopened immediately to unrestricted shipping traffic in both directions, with zero tolls collected and all water mines terminated. Second, and most critical to security, is the issue of enriched uranium, sometimes referred to as nuclear dust. This material, buried deep underground, must be completely unearthed and destroyed. The destruction of that nuclear material would be carried out in coordination with the United States and international watchdogs like the IAEA, ensuring strict oversight. These red lines are structured as a direct trade. The U.S. is offering to restore maritime freedom and ease economic pressure in exchange for the permanent removal of Iran's immediate nuclear threat. Iran's strategy in closing the strait was designed to weaponize global oil prices, hoping to force the United States into a corner through spiking domestic inflation. The U.S. counter-strategy has focused on aggressively increasing domestic energy supply. We've seen record-breaking public land lease sales in the Permian Basin, generating billions in revenue and pumping massive volume into the market. Looking at this digital pricing board, we can see the impact. The combination of increased U.S. supply and the mere prospect of a diplomatic deal has already driven crude oil prices down to roughly $87 a barrel. While the economic pressure shifts, regional dynamics are also twisting. Gulf Arab states, specifically the UAE, participated in dozens of airstrikes against Iran early in the conflict. Now they are seeking a ceasefire to protect their own nearby infrastructure. This gives the U.S. a tactical opening. The administration is reportedly telling Arab nations that they will only get their desired ceasefire if they officially join the Abraham Accords. The Abraham Accords serve as a binding tool, formally normalizing relations between Israel and Arab states to create a unified regional bloc against Iranian influence. By tying the ceasefire to these agreements, the U.S. is attempting to convert its temporary military and economic buffers into a permanent geopolitical realignment of the Middle East. If a deal is signed, the immediate global benefits are clear. Trade routes reopen, oil prices stabilize, and the short-term nuclear threat is neutralized. However, defense experts and former administration officials argue that this peace comes with severe hidden costs. The mechanism of this threat is financial. Listing the blockade unfreezes assets and allows Iran to sell millions of oil barrels via shadow fleets to countries like China, injecting billions of dollars into reconstruction funds. This financial injection could provide a critical lifeline to the Iranian clerics, preventing the imminent, total collapse of the current regime. In this view, a diplomatic victory today might inadvertently fund the rebuilding of a stronger, highly motivated enemy a decade down the line. This brings us back to the Situation Room and the binary decision on the president's desk. On one side is the compromise path: sign the memorandum, stabilize the global economy, erase the immediate nuclear threat, and accept that the regime survives. On the other side is the maximalist path: reject the deal, maintain the economic stranglehold, and attempt to force a historical collapse of the Iranian state from within. The current geometry of leverage is a gamble on time, whether the world can afford a permanent conflict or whether the price of temporary stability is too high to pay.